도마 되게 삼다베네 되게 장기세 공부도 배야라 오늘 차고 왔다 대도 삼다 뭐 내가 그때 내가 신도 공부 어지 대진도 이제 가서 이제 뭐 마음과 따도 과샤고 어떤 이샘 줌바메야 되게 좋나 샘을 뽑아게 샘을 좋아하게 과차들이 천자 민주야 들어와 줌바미올라 뽑아게 그래 샘 과차 뭐다 그거 시리즈 네 윤도 뒤집에나 강화를 도는지 또 와. 와서 삐친 거야. 이번엔 치만 이제 전기 샘 뭐도 예뻐도 내가 타서 전기 샘을 만들어 냐데 보고 이 회사 지주 전기 샘만 민달로 요 아니 같이 한게 대화 관계 집에나 야이 대회 자와데 좀 많이 봐. 카이 기선진 아니 전기 샘 아니 근데 얘는 소장한 게 있는 도시네 짐바네 뭐하대 뭐 삐따고 시작하고 와서 계속 전기 샘 bomba 제가 민다 전기 샘다 민달로 유 먼저 본처 진리 숨바고 서다 공부 좀 된게 또 본처 진리 공부 진리 숨도 어떻게 들어가 그거는 달린 배에 고갑도 상거리 고갑도 주나 금방 비와 말이야 말아도 미콤 이게 나라 세대 보는 미콤 이게 세 소리 스타트 뭔가 상스네지 할리비 나민 투체모 동화 투체모 용안요래 왕기 최처럼 매겨 엔사 테는 야 냐와 남매가 밀로 분다만 거 되고 와 이제 진짜 이 얘네들 따와이나 삼로 로세다 되기 때문에 따와이나 달리 오네 가서 하는 돈로이나 돈로 같이 미래에 세링이 왔대 포지스로 우리가 로 얘가 같이 되기도 와 니에 같이 걔랑 먹고 되기도 와 세링 것도 와 델리기 은배 링인제 실험 매긴데 걔가 있는 자네 때는 말고 이 인기가 따뜻한 자위치기는 손하지 다르죠 녀석은 세야도 뭐네
티슈가 대자와르시 마음바라 따도 고자 콜라이데 마음바라 따도 고자 콜라이셔 대자와르시 자와 시그니칭 스탕게 마음바라 따도 고자 콜라이시도 온데 자와르시 자웨시키
순거 에스
yes
이 뭐제야다 자주 샘도 이 연락도 상담도 부스제나 샘 미중이라 팽토로 왔대도 와참 원이 차고 왔어 샘은 뽑아 또 스키 되기로 와
many of the practice that we see in this book is something very, of course, helpful. So what is needed is spending more time on thinking, contemplation, and maybe doing more reading. However, these are not easy at all for us, for beginners, for somebody whose thought and mind is not used to this kind of attitude. It's not definitely easy, but very helpful. And the next root, text, the sentence on page 103, a very important practice or concept. Engage in the principal practices right now. So there's an emphasis of timing. Right now is the time that we need to be engaged in the practice. We have been deprived of freedom in inferior rebirths or beginningless time, but now due to certain inner and outer conditions, we have found this life as a free and fortunate human being. At such a time, it is more important to work to actualize the purposes of future lives than those of this life. So, Buddhist way of looking at rebirth and how we take limitless numbers of rebirth, and it is extremely rare to have this kind of human rebirth. with human intelligence, have access to teachings, has opportunity to make this life very meaningful, productive, and it is extremely rare. And in fact, it's a common expression we find in Tibetan language. It's like us, stars in the daytime. And the more you understand the rarity of human life, the more there's chances that you use in a good way. And when having found this human rebirth, since practice is more important than study, I urge you to unify the focus of your meditation on the awakening mind and its associated precepts. Intellectual understanding alone is not enough. You can have understanding intellectually, but that doesn't bring a change in you. What brings change in you is the practice. The practice brings a transformation. And therefore, practice is much more important than just simply understanding or having intellectual. And so therefore, he's urging here to unify the focus of your meditation on the awakening mind and its associated precepts, referring to a sevenfold cause and effect precepts. It begins with the sevenfold cause and precepts. When you look at those sevenfold cause and precepts, the final one is bodhicitta, altruistic mind, and before that, it begins with understanding all sentient beings as one's mother, and then repaying kindness and remembering kindness. So those are the associated precepts, and so what is needed here is which in Buddhism, in fact, is a very common understanding that that all sentient beings are fundamentally same. We all desire happiness and not wanting suffering, and in fulfilling the wishes of sentient beings, you are just one individual, and others are limitless. Therefore, it's worthwhile. It makes sense to help and benefit other sentient beings, and all of these understanding are really helpful here, and kind of associated precepts in bringing you about altruistic mind, and so therefore engaging in the actual practice rather than just kind of continuously gaining intellectual understanding. The next root text is, in the future always put an armor. And this kind of, the interpretation, this refers to putting on an armor like determination not to be separated from the awakening mind under any circumstances in the future until you have attained Buddhahood. So this kind of, you can say attitude of bodhicitta, altruistic mind or awakening mind, this kind of attitude is like an armor that will protect you in future. No matter what kind of circumstances, suffering, problems that you face, attitude of awakening mind or bodhicitta is wearing an armor. It is protecting yourself from all kinds of suffering and problems in future. So here also kind of he's kind of just to confirm this statement, he cites from Buddha's own sutra, the text called the Cloud of Jewels Sutra, Buddha's own teaching. The Cloud of Jewels Sutra recommends the determination to acquaint yourself with the awakening mind and never to be separated from it as a cause of not being parted from it. And on this.
Shui Tuesam La Zumbi, Ganzang Gaji, Zugui Junze, Tongwa Tse, Minish, Goni, Niji, Yudu Jebani, Nishi Kono, Data, Tina to Sundwa. And that is money. Mar any Mondo Lamarich. Only Sigil into the Kobani and indeed, keep on Kotan. Only to the Koban, almost a minute. That Tassin and the Digalana, so that Tassin conversion Tanto Marshall Tandigala. Mondo Lamarambuja, I just said Serenata in the Serenat, Pachisaran. What a sereni goes to the line, Tabata County, any patient, Udicala, any Lasan and Martin and any Peggy or any March Muji Calocin to the line. We Namzat is also Doboy. Any Lasamo Tabating in jealous so Lame. I'm a 9 inch movers. I'm also create one of the Data Chibuta. Me. Dunale ne pe di daregi samta dus chigiyes dino pe gindu mala jipsi bawa suwa tati ngala khaje mazu niji kiya umani kisi leda nyomong se nani chaban dichi ki dunga ki nan de denji tande mo kari chaban dichi ki dunga ki nan de in chinjela to talu ya ele niji umani chego wata di modo any day, chick again. Crowalipe Tande in Sagil and Ninjiasa. Any Jumar Nebala, any big country Seva the Tendida, Nijik and Nijipolo and Rachambata, what a Nijik and Nijipolo
Explanation of what appears in the text as maxims. Don't applying a wrong understanding. This application of wrong understanding or maybe wrong attitude. It's something kind of important because in our conventional life, this wrong understanding seems to be we take as something right. Although these are wrong. For example, we will see in the text such as wrong compassion. Enlightened beings, noble beings, for destroy those who are already liberated, already free from suffering. They don't need compassion. When you look at them and feel compassion, that's a wrong compassion. They are already freed. They don't suffer like us. So that kind of compassion, looking up and say, oh, pity or sympathy, is totally wrong. It doesn't make a sense. And because as mentioned before, they are already freed from suffering. They don't suffer anymore like us, although they appears to be kind of poor, but that is like Longdon Lama Rinpoche, a great practitioner, a monk who used to be from Sera Monastery, probably lower, Sera Monastery. Great practitioner and great master, and so one time, just like any other ordinary monk, they have to do monastic kind of chores and responsibilities. So he was carrying a load of butter, from his monastery, and then on the way, there are some ladies nearby Lhasa, capital city of Tibet, and they look at Longde Lama Rinpoche and they kind of express their kind of sympathy and pity on him because he was wearing kind of poor robe, old, and they express kind of pity and sympathy, and then he responded that actually I'm sort of far better than you ladies, I'm kind of engaged in this kind of journey of practice benefiting these monks, and so here the example is those ladies, although seems to be very kind of honest in expressing their kind of thought, but that is not actually a right compassion or right sympathy. It's a kind of wrong understanding, wrong kind of compassion. who deserve actually, who are the one that deserve compassion and sympathy and pity is actually one that who actually suffers from suffering, especially from the three types of suffering, conditioned suffering or pervasive suffering. As long as one is under the influence of karmic action and negative emotions, those are the one that is going to suffer regardless of what their current status is. So those are the one that truly deserve, and those are the one that you need to be showing your compassion and sympathy. Here it says, we should acquaint ourselves with the compassion for sentient beings tormented by various sufferings. But to feel pity for those who are slightly troubled by lack of food or clothes as a result of their endeavoring to listen and to think about religion is inverted compassion. We need to set an intention to attain ultimate enlightenment.
차라리 답산 직면에서 와 가서 툭툭지 지단은 제 룬선이지 뭐 러시아는 이거 룬선이지나 사회 처가 맞춰서 제가 펜나선데 가서 선선지 가서 시작하던 지 파자라 펜나선에 또 시네 갈리게게 디인디가나 다 눈바 걸어 그래 시부 눈바 걸어 눈바는 땡겨로 와 전들게 어떤지 얘는데 지 오늘 맞은 눈바 당사에 갈당 거래 토리하게 땡기시든 눈바 싸우는데 너무 땡들제기 상기 고한데 걔 눈바잖아 눈바 땡땡데 이거 왜 이래 되게 많이 맞지 딱 그런 중에 강제 대화사 하지 아니 지 포르마도야 뭐다 이 유흥어보도야 진리지는 눈만 따버리나 눈만 못 봐래 눈만 친지로 하래 그는 니도 못 봐. 시위지 내 천벌이 어떻게 되겠지? 아니 지 사과하는 같이 같이 여가지고 그나서 또 나지 아니 같이 계속 뱅이겠는데 나라다 이게 절로 맞춰서 지금 빼 진짜 텔레 맞춰지는 생각해보도 같이 응원해 뱀도 어떤 수준이 현지시다 공부와 같이 선진기도 상기배 무서운 상기 토벌 눈 거 발에스 아 상기 통계비 눈바도 공부와 에스 지루 그럴 분석 개발도 생기 리베스 아주 뭐래 생기나라시나 최반 인생도 와 짐바 중나 또 민승도 와 짐바 이제 뭐다 기 생기 코너 가르치 지나 아티 디니 공항도 로겐지나 이 최바튼 서반인데요 말이야 뭐다 디스고 생기 디비 닝구소 던등이원 눈바 걸어 이 숨와 저번에 뭐다 디 기도가 와서 민턴등이 나가 내가 가서 내지 민천지 집대가 주고용을 삼바 덴디신 둥바 따위나 뭐라래 다같이는 꼬마처럼 원이 잘 와. 아니 지금 나중에 형님 지금 꼬마처럼 원이 잘 와. 이 깨지게도 말고 이 둥바 양 따바 가는 것도 둥바 친지로 가는 것도 힐링이 제가 항상 와서 윤도 고야지 책임 차려요. 주백이
So the first wrong understanding is, wrong compassion or inverted compassion. The second is intention, wrong intention. We need to set an intention to attain an ultimate enlightenment for the sake of all living beings, but to do so out of interest in worldly prosperity in general, and the rewards and honor of this life in particular is a perverse intention. So when engaging in practice or learning or studying Buddhism, one's intention should be always kind of pure, as mentioned here, ultimate enlightenment, not for the sake of, what we call contaminated happiness, limited temporary happiness, or prosperity of this world, or for wealth or possessions, status. With that kind of intention, then it is totally wrong to engage in practice. And here Geshe-la is saying that although he don't know how much this kind of he tried to kind of explain his best as much as he can instead of just reading it. So in the process, he don't know how much it is benefiting you all, but he's kind of trying to read this is a great benefit for himself. Reading the book and then trying to get some understanding of the meaning, and it's really helpful for him. Therefore, the good intention, and this, as you have heard, is very common in Buddhist practice. Here, one of the four, what we call non-attachment. The first one is, it says that if you are attached to this lifetime, you are not practitioner. You are not Buddhist practitioner. So, so being himself as a monk, if he is teaching out of kind of some expectation of gaining reputation, fame, or respect, then it is totally kind of wrong to begin with, engaging in the practice. So it is always kind of, good to kind of to aware about what our thoughts are when we are engaged in practice and teachings. And of course, the intention, there can be different levels of intention. Although intention is good, but they are, good in a temporary sense, but not good in a long term. So, intention of attaining enlightenment, or for the sake of benefiting unlimited numbers of other sentient beings, could be highest level of intention. But you can have a good intention of just attaining enlightenment for yourself and freeing yourself from suffering, but not much about thinking others. So intention could be different levels of intention. So in brief, we can say that whatever intention or motivation that is with altruistic mind or bodhicitta or awakening mind, we can say that that's the highest form of intention. I'll stop here and see if you. So here it is translated as a wrong understanding. There are 5 of them. We just finished the first 2, compassion and intention. So these are, Guruji was saying something that is important. That is important in kind of practical way. So the 3 more left, which we will continue later, and we'll stop here. You can ask questions if you have. Yeah.
Could you, on the 4 schools of thought or techniques in Buddhism, and the 4th one was the middle way consequence school.
Mm-hmm.
What are the first 3, and then could you name those, and then how should I, as sort of a beginner student, be thinking about which of those schools I should be focusing my energy on learning? Or should I be learning all of them at the same time?
저듯이 당이 당부대 되르시 된주 시디 카르카르엘로 니어디 뭐란 장에 그 림버도디 장도 좀 찾아냠도 장샤오레 양 찍라 칼로레 믹세로 나진 장고 장에 림버도 카르스 장고렐로도
좀단 로나 셔럽기니 시위디 제자 개발도 참고 시위야 또다서 카고요 어디 사진이지 이 경우로 지치데 제가 제가 사회 또다 차고 싶어요 이미 지 회사 차고 싶으니까는 니 영에 뉴 그거도 아니네 소속에 바다지 차고디 이제 제가 카가 계속 나와 좀다로 좀더 소소디 대충이 이양양도 지 기중에는 시위하고 이게 지금 남체 그런 거란 지금 원이잖아 제가 뭐 있다고 가르쳐도 제가 뭐는 나sel에 대봐 줄게요 아니 너네 봐 돈내는 바로 뭐부터인지 해야 돼 돈도 받던지는 비치 돈다는 비치는 생기 다 제가 뭐 너네 만들고 와요 제가 뭐래 이 시월이 차르친다 이 다당랑 그 땡중들라 눈에 땡중이 또 너네비 좀더 이제 매 헬링 거 하고 너네 방에 딱 디가라 따다 랭겨
저듯이 장도 좀 버림 칸데 장고르 찍라 모트인데 저거래 찍라 찍란 찍
두다 라쇼네 제가 말해 괜히 너네 바장 괜히 선담 바장 괜히 우마바도 장기나 아라파니 타루잖아 레라요 디바 미마무지 렘상 단주데 samudandi tichang any rapade magudi gala thamu koya kono yomarwa
four school of thoughts the first the one is particularist or great exposition school then sutra school second and then third is mind only school and then fourth is middle way school. And all of this school has a kind of further sub-school, and we just mentioned sub-school of middle way school. Middle way school is further categorized into autonomy middle way school and sutra middle way school, and then autonomy middle way school and the autonomy middle way school. It has a further two autonomy school and then I would say consequent school. These are the two. Again, for example, Great Exposition School, it is further kind of categorized into 18 sub-schools. Traditionally, the way of studying is trying to study, starting with the lower school of thought, and because lower school of thought, their philosophy is considered as more kind of grosser or more easier to understand. Once you get the understanding of good understanding of the Great Exposition School, you can go to the next and then otherwise starting as people tend to do around here, starting right from the top, and then you start with the most difficult one, and without sort of having preparation ahead of time of yourself and studying, so might be more difficult. And we tried to went through this book before, which I said, but and the text itself is, if you study in detail, it's considered as a difficult text, to study. But however, if you have a good understanding of tenets or philosophy, then it would be, the benefit would be, it would be like, it is like an eye-opening thing, It kind of opens your eye of wisdom in studying an entire school of thoughts in Buddhism.
차도 자신이 샌들 세대 알지? 너희 집 우마나게 봐, 나저 집 우마나게 봐. 마도 선자만 문제는 파질 차도 자신이 샌들데 파질 천삼백 가르치기나. 보다 중다 대전마마가 되는 가지 대리 따단 대리와 말해. 가까이 용수 줘봐지. 다 대나 민장 땅에 좀 기대는데 다 투모 많이 뭐 던지고 자르게 시라 차로 친 거래.
Just kind of example such as although we usually use these word dependent origination or dependent arising concept, but that dependent origination is kind of general term, and it has a specific interpretation of by different school of thoughts, and under that dependent arising of cause and effect. Cause and effect dependent arising is something that is interpreted and accepted by all school of thoughts, from lower school of thoughts to the higher school of thoughts, and then dependent arising of part and whole. That dependent arising is interpreted and accepted by only a higher vehicle, not by two lower. Those four school of thoughts. The first two are lesser vehicle, and the second two are higher vehicle. And then dependent arising of merely a designation, merely imputation. And that dependent origination or dependent arising is only accepted or propounded or interpreted by middle way consequent schools only, not lower schools. So that's kind of one example how one kind of concepts is interpreted. In the root text by Quintin Javansheba, a great master, he in the root text of tendency says that the lower school of thoughts must serve as kind of stages to understand the higher school of thoughts. So the better you have understanding of lower school of thoughts, the more clear pictures that you will get of the higher school of thoughts. Barbara, you have a question?
I have two. Number one, easy. Is he talked about one of the four non-attachments.
Mm-hmm.
Can we have one? Can we have the other three?
Mm-hmm.
First question.
Shimbashi did kare la urta mok chiwet.
Oh, not easy. Sorry.
Changa da kare la du.
가사 직길에 짐바주는 다음이라 린징기 짐바예나 이 다와 양다 말해다 가도 짐바시 절대
당분 고주도 세딜레시나 쳐바미.
센딜레시나 쳐바미
korwalashina nyejungmis.
korwalashina nyejungmis. 보다때 센딜레시나 쳐바마레 쳐바 양다 센딜이 최저발은 센딜레 당고 와래 아니 니중 세딜레 시상 내가 녀몽 나라와때 딜레 꾼도다네 딜리니 베 korwal 칭제데 레닌이 자고와래 칭제단 담제데 레닌이 자고와래 아니 즉 레닌이 에베 라이크 꾼도다네 디니에네 베 즉 korwal 녀버 중국어라 와다 korwal 가사 korwal 진앙이 중 간지 가와데 korwal 신지 코르제지 차베나 하나 디기 가르고 와라 사체 게렌데디야 korwal 신지 차인다 데 어떤 얘기가 말해서 그거 너도나 와다 디니 디가라 korwal 진앙이 중 인심바주나 다음 아니 찍까
랑든레시나 창세미.
정신 세마이나 랑든 내당고 랑든 내당에 신된 찍고 와래 자주 있어 바로 그렇지 그래 나도 가사 니게다 툭사 이제 마시던데 사자가 쉬워 nembucu sunga.
There's four non-attachment. It's a literal translation, but parting away from four clingings is the another translation, and this is especially emphasized in the tradition of Sakya, lineages. And the first one is I will just read here. Just if you have attachment to this life, you are not a religious practitioner. The second is if you are attached to cyclic existence, you have no renunciation. Second is if you have attached to cyclic existence or samsara, you have no renunciation. And and of course, under this, not only karmic action and ignorance, but even contaminated virtuous activities should be kind of renunciated. So the second is if you are attached to cyclic existence, you have no renunciation. Third is if you are attached to your own welfare, you do not have altruistic mind, or you are not a bodhicitta. If you are attached to your own welfare, you do not have a mind of enlightenment. It says, but it means you have no mind of awakening mind, or no altruistic mind. And then fourth is if you have a grasping, you do not have the correct view. If you are still having this grasping, and then to independently existing or inherent existence, then you don't have a correct view or view of reality. So, for the fourth one, if you have a grasping, you do not have the correct view. For example, in Aryadev's 400 verses, he says that as long as there's a grasping to aggregate, there is self-grasping, and because of that self-grasping, again one creates karmic action, and because we're creating a karmic action again and again, one keeps or remains in the cycle of cyclic existence. What's your second question?
Okay, the second question goes back to the three baskets.
Uh-huh.
And when Geshe-la was talking about the combination of method and wisdom, and holding in mind, generating one, with its altruistic mind, and then allowing that to kind of just go down to almost an imprint stage, a lesser than foremost stage, and then generating the other one, so that they're there together, one perhaps in more of a forefront basis than the other one. To me, that takes a tremendous amount of the second part, which is concentration and attentional skills, and mind awareness, and calming, shamatha. So once again, I wonder if it isn't necessary in order to do that to be a deep practitioner of shamatha meditation, because to me, you have to calm the ordinary mind to such a degree to be able to have that ability to hold the imprint in awareness at the same time you're holding the other more heavily generated concept, whether it's compassion and wisdom. If you have wisdom as the underlying imprint, it's still helping to hold up that compassion as a forefront in your mind. To me, that takes a tremendous amount of skilled, attentional skills that I would think that you would need a level of shamatha or calm abiding in order to attain, rather than getting carried away by that one that's forefront in your mind, and not observing the imprint as it's coming up.
Indeed. 라바숨기 나올란다 지 파주지기 시랍다 탑신이 지기요라 심단데 인다 모랑이 삼주되는 삼구도사 지기야